OrangeJuice.
Steam is a virtual playground of indie games, many of which most gamers have never heard about. I'll admit that sometimes I may come across a title that I have no knowledge about, and the only reason that I may come across such a release is thanks to Humble Bundle's hefty sales roster. The platform's abundance of rapidly changing price cuts has led me to a variety of indie gems, including a curious anime-inspired board game with a quirky title, 100% Orange Juice. 100% Orange Juice may have an outwardly odd name, but there's a great amount of depth hidden beneath the surface with this release. Graphically, 100% Orange Juice looks like a mixture between anime fan art and the wonderment of a young child. Everything is so bright and colourful, and each of the characters holds wide-eyed, great exaggerated facial expressions and movement. Much like their Japanese animated counterparts, it's very simplistic in design, with 2D character cutouts that occasionally change their stance to better match what is happening within the game. But much of the title appears as if the developers cut each individual piece out of paper and then shot the whole thing with the stop-motion camera. No, this isn't a AAA release laced with amazingly realistic and deep visuals, but it still manages to capture the wild and peculiar theme that 100% Orange Juice oozes from its pores. From a graphical standpoint, the simplicity in design and the stock looking characters and the unconventional game board that floats amid a pattern strewn sky adds just as much entertainment value as the unique gameplay itself. It sounds strange for a board game to have any kind of story associated with it, but that didn't stop developers from adding a theatrical spin to 100% Orange Juice. The basic gist sees a young boy named Kai. As he is approached by a strange girl named Marie Poppo, Kai is led on a vast journey that spans the globe, putting him in contact with an array of different characters as he attempts to quell the strange darkness that threatens to consume the world. It's a very bold story, but it is something that most anime fans are probably accustomed to. Gameplay is easily the most interesting and entertainment aspect of this release. 100% Orange Juice can best be described as a mixture between a collectible card game and a traditional board game. You'll utilize cards with varying powers to help you gain an edge on the competition, and you'll roll a traditional dice to move your way around each board in a counterclockwise fashion. It all sounds like it's fairly complex, and the first time you load up the game you may be overwhelmed by confusion. But once you get a grip on the main rules and concept, the game is actually quite simple and enjoyable. Before each match, players will have the ability to add a specific number of cards to their deck. These cards have a variety of abilities, ranging from battle boosters, to traps, to roll enhancers, and even a couple of cards that affect where players are on the game board. A player won't have access to their entire deck from the get-go, and must land on a special green spaces that allow them to draw 1 or 2 cards. Only 3 cards may be held at once. There is a lot of strategic depth here, as you are capable of collecting over 50 different cards. As you move across the game board, you'll collect stars. These collectibles act as the lifeblood of your game, as some are required to progress further during each match, and some are even used to activate powerful cards. At the beginning of each turn, players will be awarded some stars, and that amount amplifies as the game proceeds. You can also gain these stars by battling creatures, the red squares, by rolling bonuses, the yellow squares, and even defeating other players by landing on the same square as them. Battling is as simple as tossing the dice. If your roll is higher than your opponent's, you will do damage to them. Each player receives 1 turn in a fight, and you do not regain HP outside of battle, unless you have a healing card. Some cards can affect your specs in battle and give you a better attack, defense, or even evade. These specs are what determine if a player wins or loses a specific fight. Choosing the defense role when fighting will allow you to avoid any catastrophic damage from another player. No matter how high you roll over your opponent, you will always take 1 damage while defending. If you don't feel like taking any damage, you can attempt to evade. But be careful, if your roll isn't higher than your opponent's, you'll take the full damage of their roll. Winning the game is done by achieving something called the Norma. Each game starts with the same Norma of collecting 10 stars. Once you collect those stars and make your way to your or any home space, which you will see marked on the board, you can go up 1 normal level. Each level awards you a star next to your character's portrait. If you manage to collect 6 stars in total, you'll win the game. You won't just be handed a victory though, as the Norma gets progressively harder each time you achieve it. You'll be tasked with deciding if it's better to collect stars or vanquish your enemies as the game progresses. Choosing the right Norma to achieve can mean the difference between victory and defeat. All in all, 100% Orange Juice is pretty entertaining affair. It features a lengthy 4-character campaign, a vast array of game boards and cards, and some great 4-person online multiplayer. Developers add updates regularly, and you can even customize characters and purchase new ones. What do you think of 100% Orange Juice? Let us know in the comments below, and congratulations to Samantha Lettuce, who picked up a copy of Dust and Elysian Tale. To win a copy of 100% Orange Juice, remember to leave a comment below, and as always, may your games be good.